So we're going to go and do the Blue Room lead, which we've known about since 2011. Brett and I, when we first got back into the Alpha Tunnel in 2011, were tied into the end of Jeff and Dave Miner's line, Jeff Peterson and Dave Miner, who did an amazing dive out some 1,700 feet into the Alpha Tunnel on open circuit in 1996. And we were extending their line really for the first time since then. And as we went down this enormous passage, we saw on the left this lens of very blue water, which seemed to be coming out of an entrance on that side. We scooted down into it and took a look, and we looked up into just very blue water, a room that is covered with very white clay kind of stuff, very friable formations, and it was pretty clear that it wasn't the main route on in the passage. So we decided we were going to leave it for another time, and we reeled back and actually found the main continuation going more east. This lead actually goes more north of the passage, which is kind of trending more or less east or south of east at that point. So we put it away and we continued, and we've since explored the Alpha Tunnel out a lot further, and obviously including the connection. But this is one of the outstanding leads that we decided we wanted to go back to, and that's what we're doing today. It's quite possible, based on the kind of morphology, all this white stuff, which is very similar to the white death stuff in Wiki, it's quite possible it will go deeper. The walls become white from this kind of dark grey black colour, and the floor is white or light tan coloured, and
the entry's pretty deep.
And the entries is the deepest part of Twin Ds. It's 335, 340 feet. Which until we connected it with WikiWatchy was the deepest point in Twin Ds.
Right, and Brett, you had the deepest section in WikiWatchy.
Me and Corey Mearns and Paul Heinrich, was 407 at the bottom of Mount Doom. Past Mount Doom, it rose back up to 380, 360, and ended at 340. So
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if this goes into the 350, 380 range. I'd be surprised if it goes down that far, but we don't know.
And, what's the projected time for the dive today?
Depends a little bit on what we find. It could conceivably be as short as 10 hours, it could conceivably be as long as 14 hours. Well, we scooted out to the lead where we knew it was going to be. It was exactly right where there's a stage bottle, and we took a stage bottle to switch out to. Matt tied in, I dropped the backup scooter, he dropped the spare stage, and then we kind of scooted down into this alcove. It's basically a big alcove that comes off the main passage, and it's deeper than the main passage. It's about 320, 330 feet. All white wall, kind of white silt on the floor, white ceiling, and actually this time when we went in there, I noticed that there's actually more than one hole to go through. The one we looked in before was the largest one on the left, but there were two smaller ones to the right that I hadn't seen before. So we went in there. There was a nice tie-off point just inside the kind of entrance to the room. So we scooted into the room. There's a big white pillar in the middle of the room. And my concern was when we got in there that it was going to be just a room. So I scooted around the pillar, and sure enough, nothing on the other side. So I sort of turned around to Matt and said, sorry, it's just a room. So then while we were doing that, I was thinking, I'll just check around the rest of the room, and came right around the other side, and actually there was a small passage or a small opening on the other side. So we went through that, and you could then go one of several directions. Right was probably going to go back to the Alpha Tunnel, so we looked ahead and it wasn't very clear. I checked out a few of the alcoves, and it seemed that the one off to the left was the one to go. So we went through there, came into another big room with another big pillar. We weren't really in proper passage at this point, and it wasn't until we got out of that room that we got into some decent passage. It's all right at 330 feet. very white silt on the floor, and then finally came into a big open space. Could have gone right or left. The passage was trending kind of to the northeast. Could have gone right, which would have been southeast. Instead I chose left, and we went up into this, basically a big room that dead ended. It was kind of headed directly to the north. By that time Matt was right out of line. He was right at the end of his reel, and we were pretty much out of time, so we just dropped a silt stake in there and then surveyed back out. But it went pretty smoothly. Can't really complain about that. It went very well. Matt, what do you think?
Crazy cave.
Crazy cave. Difficult navigation there, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's like Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese, yeah. Lots of alcoves. It was hard to figure out where to go each time. Matt had the reel, and I was basically bird dogging around, looking in all the alcoves. The visibility was, at least 100 feet in there, but it was big stuff, so it was very hard to see exactly what you were looking at and whether it was going up and down a little bit, so it was hard to see over these rises and but I think we did a pretty good job of the route finding. And if you go right instead of left, right at the end, I think it's still going. I think it's going to keep going to the northeast up towards Wiki.